Hello, my name is Thomas Stewart, and I am a full-time indie game developer, and I want to talk to you about the criteria that I personally went through before deciding I should quit my job. And I found some very helpful criteria to go through that will help navigate if you are considering leaving your job, maybe why you should or maybe why you should not. So let me take you through what my personal experience was, and then you can decide for yourself if you think it's actually a good idea. So in my last video, I was talking about how I quit my job 6 months ago and what that entailed and what it's been like taking that full plunge into full-time game development. A lot of people were asking me in the comments about what it would take to actually quit the job, how I came to that decision, if it was a good idea, and if I had any regrets around it. So one thing that I want to do is go over a few of the spreadsheets that I put together that helped me think through quitting my full-time job in order to be self-employed. One of these is for deciding what career path you want to pursue. One is for budgeting. One is for planning what to work on after you're self-employed. And the fourth one is for calculating when I should actually quit my job and the timeline that I should put on it. Okay, so let's jump straight into it. First off, I want to show you my screen here. So this sheet is a job evaluation form. And I put this together after learning that there's more than just one thing that your job gives you. I used to think that your job just gave you money. But then I thought, oh, you can have money and you can also have enjoyment. So there's two things that you should grade your potential job against. But then I realized there's all of these other things. There's free time and growth and how easy it is and all of these things that contribute toward a discussion about which job you should pursue. So I put together this spreadsheet and I put in some dummy data here. This first row is like, okay, if I were to stay at my current programming job, this is how I would rate it. And then I put in some other things here, like if I wanted to do freelance work, if I wanted to become a stay-at-home dad, if I wanted to get a new 9-to-5 job, or if I wanted to be a full-time indie game developer. And so then I rated them based off of all of these criterias. How much would each of these potential jobs contribute toward my enjoyment or toward my purpose, income, free time, flexibility, growth, social relationships, and how easy is it? And then below this, I added a weight. So maybe enjoyment is really high for you. You really want a job that you enjoy. Or maybe you want a lot of income. So 1 is like the baseline, but to me, I rated 0.75 as the weight distribution for how important income was to me because I didn't want necessarily a high paycheck. I wanted some of the other things. They were more important to what I was looking for in a job. So you can see the highest things that I put on here were enjoyment, free time, flexibility, and growth. I really like to learn new things, and if I feel stagnant, then I feel like I'm going to be unhappy. So growth was one of the things that I wanted to put high. And then the things that were in the middle of the line is how easy or difficult was it? Will I have social relationships that contribute to my social well-being? And then will I find a purpose in the actual work that I'm doing? And some people might put free time and flexibility on the same level. But to me, they're different because free time is like the amount of hours that you have in total that you can do whatever you want. And flexibility is being able to decide when those hours occur. So like when I had my day job, I had a lot of free time because I had evenings and weekends. I strictly worked 40 hours a week and everything outside of those 40 hours was my free time. So I actually had a lot of it, but I didn't have a lot of flexibility. I was very rigidly stuck into clocking in at 8 a.m. and clocking out at 5 p.m. Whereas now as a full-time game developer, I have a lot of flexibility, but not a lot of free time because I'm actually working more hours, even though I get to choose when those occur. So that's kind of the difference between those two. Okay, so this was helpful for me because I was able to go through each of these potential career paths and then I was able to rate them. Like for my current programming job, do I enjoy it? No. Do I find purpose in it? No. Do I have income? Yes. It's good income. Do I have free time? Yes. I have to work 40 hours a week, but outside of that, I have a bunch of free time. Do I have flexibility? No. I have to be at work 8 hours a day every weekday. What about my growth potential? No. I was feeling pretty stagnant at my current day job at the time. What about social relationships? Yes. I was able to connect with coworkers that I worked with on a daily basis and we could joke around and I felt like that was a beneficial thing to have. And then it was pretty easy because I had gotten pretty good at what I was doing. And so the idea here is that you fill this out on your own. If you want to take a look at this spreadsheet, I'll link it in the description. And then you just go up here to file and then make a copy. And then you can make your own copy that you can edit. and you can go through the drop down and figure out yes, no, probably yes, or probably no. And then at the end, it will give you a total point score. Okay, so at the end, you can see that there is a weighted percent and an unweighted percent that you can look at. And this is telling you which of these objectively scored the highest. So according to my specific weight distribution that I put and the answers that I put in for these potential career paths, the two highest that I scored, if you're not accounting for the weights, is, so the highest was full-time indie game dev. Well, that makes sense, I think. But if you go to the weighted percentages, then you can see what the weighted totals are. And I actually tied for the top two. The top two were full-time indie game dev and freelancing. So those were kind of the top two. And this doesn't mean that this is something that you need to pursue. Like, something that you have to keep in mind is, like, even if you rate income as really low, like you don't want a high of super high income, you don't want to be really rich, it still might be a really high priority for you because you're the provider for your family, or you have like loans that you need to pay down, or you have a responsibility to pay a mortgage or your car payment. You know, there's other factors that may contribute to income being a really high thing. So that's this sheet. I think it's super helpful for me. I was talking to a buddy of mine recently and I showed him this spreadsheet, and one thing that he said that was super helpful is that it's not even the outcome of this spreadsheet that is the helpful factor. It's the process of filling it out that helps you kind of mine the caves of your heart and figure out what you actually prize and what you value. He used the analogy of using a cheat sheet in school. You know, sometimes they give you like a note card for tests and you can fill out whatever you want on the note card, and then you can use only that one sheet for a test just to look at, for just as like a reminder for things that you've studied. And what we talked about is that really that cheat sheet wasn't super useful during a test. The benefit actually came from filling out the sheet because you were studying as you figured out what you wanted to put on there. So this is kind of like that. The process of going through it should reveal a lot of things to you. And if you were like me, then you will realize that there's actually a lot of things to consider when you think about quitting your job. Hello, Thomas from the future here. I started editing this video and I realized that it was going to be about 20 minutes long, so I decided to cut this video right here, and I'm going to continue this in the next video. And the next video is going to be completely about budgeting and all of the different spreadsheets that I have that I used in order to wrangle my finances and set projections for what would make it feasible for me to quit my day job. So if you're interested in that video, then be sure to subscribe and stay tuned to the next video, which will be coming along very shortly. And if you liked this video, it would be awesome if you would consider hitting the thumbs up button. And you can check out my spreadsheet that I linked below so you can try filling out your own career opportunities and how you would rate all of those criteria yourselves. I hope that's helpful to you. Feel free to leave me some feedback in the comments, and until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.